your favourite little egghead is back with another video. And this time I decided to do this trend that's been going around in the form of an assumptions video. So I posted an Instagram story and had no responses for like the first hour, and I was like, this is a massive fail. And then got quite a few different interesting questions, which I actually am quite excited to answer. So I'm on my iPad to answer them. And basically I'm just going to jump right in because I know you're supposed to time these, but I feel like it's going to be less than that anyway. There's 19. So I'll try and do like 1 minute answers and then it'll be a quick video. So the first question is, well, assumption. I'm going to keep saying question, it's an assumption. There's one actual question that someone asked. I think I put on the post so you could ask a question too. So I got 1 question and 18 assumptions. So you have always been confident in who you are. That's tough. I would say probably on the whole, yes. I'm not the type of person that really like massively cares about what other people think. So like when I was in school and stuff, like I wasn't particularly popular, but I just did me. Like I'm a massive believer in like you do you. So whatever you think is the best thing for you to do, go ahead and do that. And I think who I am as a person, yes, I've always been confident. I'm not as been confident in how I looked necessarily, but who I am generally, yes. I would say there's probably a period of my life where I sort of, well, there's been a couple of times when I have conformed to the norm of the people around me, and actually I don't particularly like agree or get on with those people, so then not that I argue with them, but just they don't do things that I would particularly do, say and do things that I would agree with, and then that means that I would not particularly, I just don't, what I'm trying to say is I guess I would do something for a period of time and then be like, this is not who I am, and change to be back to who I am. So I'd say, yeah, generally I'm confident enough to step out and be like, no, I'm not doing that, I'm not following the crowd, I'm who I am. Assumption number 2, you like night shift. No, I don't. I hate night shift. I haven't done one for quite a while. The last time I did one was this time last year. I don't dislike, what I do like about night shift is the fact that you don't have all the other faff on. So I've just realised I'm a nurse. So basically, I haven't really explained that. If you've watched the videos, you would understand that. But when you're a nurse on a night shift, I do like the fact that you can just get on with your stuff. So you don't have to worry about like random people appearing and asking about questions. And generally it's like less busy in the sense of like there's less people around, so you get more of your jobs done. The things I don't like about night shift are you get really tired, it messes up your sleeping pattern, it makes me feel ill, to be really honest. I mean, my first ever week, I did 2 weeks of night shift, like as my first ever experience, and I think I cried every single night. It was just horrific. Not for me. I can do them, I will do them during my career, I'm sure, but nah, not down for that, sorry. I know some people love them, you get paid more, that's a bonus. I don't know what else. So on the whole, the assumption is not true, I do not like night shifts. You always wanted to be a nurse. No, I did not always want to be a nurse. When I was younger, I wanted to, well, to be fair, I thought I was going to be like Prime Minister or something. I was just an outspoken little twit, really. I would say I considered being a nurse from being about 17. So when I went to sixth form, I chose my A-levels with a view of going to do law at university, and then decided against that. Changed my mind. I don't even know why I changed my mind. I think I was just like not feeling it, and I was enjoying psychology, so then I was like, I'm going to do a psychology degree. I knew I wanted to work with children. That is I've always wanted to work with children, so that was my thing. If I was going to go into law, I wanted to do family law. So I wanted to do something relating to that. I've always been really good at working with children. That's just a skill that I possess. Don't know why. So I would say no. I did not always want to be a nurse. I decided I wanted to become a nurse as I left paediatric care. I decided I wanted to be a paediatric nurse because of the care that I was given throughout that time. But I didn't know at the time. And I find that really weird now, because if I could speak to some of the people that used to look after me, they probably think it's really funny that I actually became a nurse because of them, but I didn't ever intend on doing that. And yeah, but I don't regret it. Best thing I ever did. Next one. I think it means I forgive people easily. I'd say so. Yeah. I don't hold a grudge, so I'll get annoyed about a situation or something. I always like to resolve things, so I don't like to leave things like left unsaid as they were. Like, I would much rather have a conversation with the person. I would probably struggle if I felt like it wasn't resolved. But I generally, on the whole, forgive people easily. I'm probably a bit of a pushover in the sense of, like, I go back to people who probably haven't been the best to me, but oh well, toxic trait. Next one. You've only ever had one proper relationship. That is correct. That is a correct assumption. My only proper relationship has been with Caleb, who I am marrying now next year. Thanks COVID. But I had like an almost relationship prior to that when I was like 15. But we're not going to talk about that. It didn't actually turn into a real relationship. It wasn't even half a relationship. It almost turned into a relationship, but it wasn't. So in technical terms, I've only ever had one real relationship. That's it. Oh, this is a good one. You wish you were healthy. I guess the upshot of the assumption would be yes, I do wish I was healthy. But I also, looking back now, like, I wish I'd been born healthy, if that makes sense. Like, I wish I'd been healthy and never ever had anything wrong with me. But I wouldn't want to just, like, if someone said to me, like, from now you can have a healthy body, I would take that, obviously. But I also think that the way that I have been has shaped me as a person. It's led me to my career. It's led me to knowing who I am as a person. It's led me to being like really strong and resilient. And I think the skills that I've learnt from being poorly have helped me to do other things in life that actually I wouldn't have done. And that's also to do with my personality type, my upbringing, but at the same time, being poorly has contributed to that. So I don't wish that I'd never ever been ill, but if I could be healthy, that would be amazing. That really doesn't answer that very well, but anyway. Your family has a lot of money. It depends on what you define a lot of money as. I mean, we're not poor, I'll say that. I've always had what I have needed. I've never ever gone without. But I've also been taught the value of money, sort of things like I've never had my phone paid for me. I have never just been like, I want this, and got it bought for me. We used to get pocket money, used to have to save things, but at the same time, if we needed clothes for X, Y, and Z, like if we were going to a wedding or something, we would get that. My parents have supported me through my education, so I've never been like I've always been able to go on trips, like go skiing, do all of those kinds of things. And I've always done activities, so a lot of the money that I used to get growing up was through, I used to go to gymnastics, to dance, piano lessons, to you name it, we were there swimming. My brother's the same. So basically, as a whole, I would say we don't have a lot of money. My parents work hard, they have good jobs. My mum is a teacher, my dad's a prison officer. We live in a very nice house that they're doing up, that's an investment project. And my extended family are the same. But we're not rich. Like, we don't have like tons of excess money. We just are, we live a nice life. We'll go with that. So I wouldn't say my family has a lot of money. That's probably not true. You're proud to be a nurse. Absolutely true. Yeah, really proud. I think especially at the minute, people are seeing the amount of hard work it takes to do this job, and I'm really sad that I'm not I'm not at work at the moment because I am shielded and not allowed, but I'm so proud to be in a profession that cares for people irrelevant of their background, race, religion, gender, financial situation, you name it, doesn't matter to us. All we care about is giving people the care they deserve to get better or to have as good a life as is possible for them. And I think that that's a huge part of what we do. And I would say I'm really proud to be part of a profession that is not there for the money. Like, you don't go into nursing for money, you go into it because you love people and you love what you do. So I would say yes, 100% proud to be a nurse. You're competitive. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try and deny that. I was brought up competitive. I do competitive sport. My family's competitive. Like, we have games at family parties and it's like, it's on. I'm a big believer in the fact that there's very little point in doing something without the intention of doing it to win, because I think it teaches you to do it properly. And if you don't succeed, then, or you're not number one, that's fine. But if you gave your all to try, then you were competitive. You gave your best. I don't think competitive always means like you have to win, but it's about giving your all. And I am like that. If I'm gonna do something, I'll do it properly. Sorry, like, that's just who I am. So yes, I'm competitive. You had a sheltered upbringing. Probably a little bit, yes. I would say that, especially with everything that's gone on in the last few weeks in the media with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, which is so incredibly important, I've had my eyes open massively. And I don't think it's necessarily that my upbringing in terms of those kind of things was sheltered. It's that I grew up in the northeast of England in I've lived in villages and very small towns, and have not had a lot of like, I've had culture in the sense of like, we've been on holidays, we've done that kind of thing, but we didn't have a lot of like exposure to all of these things. So I would never have the knowledge, like it was something I learned about in school. But in terms of like other things, like I would be aware of stuff that used to happen, but I, as a child as well, used to suffer quite badly with like, I won't say anxiety, but I used to have problems like sleeping and stuff like that, and I used to have like night terrors about things. So my parents for quite a while used to try and not, I wouldn't say shelter, but just not tell me about things that had happened. For example, like say someone being kidnapped, because I would then like worry that was going to happen to me. And it was like obviously irrational, but it was like just my thought pattern. So I would say probably yes, not intentionally, but just because of the circumstances and the context in which I grew up, I guess. You want lots of children. Depends on how many lots is. I want children, 100%. How I go about doing that is obviously an issue with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so it's genetic, I can pass it on. That's a consideration I need to think about. Also, a consideration I need to think about is how my body would handle me having biological children. But that's not something that obviously you don't have to have your children biologically. So that's something that I think when the time comes, I will have to weigh up. And yeah, but yes, I want children. I want more than one child. If I could, I would have like tons, but that's not gonna work. I know that with my body that I'm gonna probably be able to have one or two, and that would probably be challenge enough. And I always joke and say I want 4 to Caleb, and he's like, no. But I don't know, we'll see what the future brings. But yes, I want children, not necessarily lots. There we go. You passed all of your A-levels. I did, that's true. That's a correct assumption. I worked my backside off. During my A-levels was when my health was declining really significantly. Probably not as significantly as in the last couple of years, but it's when like I went from being just sort of like a youngish teenager who used to go to hospital appointments fairly frequently but spent a very little time in hospital throughout my teenage years as an inpatient, and then everything took a bit of a downward spiral. But I did pass my A-levels in full. I didn't get what I was predicted, so I was actually predicted 2 A stars and an A, and I got 2 A's and a B, and then an A and a C at AS level. I was proud of, because I went through hell. Like, that was when people weren't believing me and I didn't have a diagnosis, and it was all very like, it's all in your head and get on with it type thing. And college was stressful. Like, I found college really, really hard. I found the jump from GCSE to A-level pretty big, and I am intelligent to a degree, but I have to work. So if you compare me and my brother, he is probably more naturally intelligent to me, but he doesn't put in as much work. So like, you've got the balance of like both. I'm glad I did A-levels, because I feel like it gave me the route to like have a bit of flexibility of where I wanted to go. So when I went to uni the first time and decided it wasn't for me, the course I was doing wasn't for me, it meant that I could leave and know that I still had those qualifications that then allowed me to go and do something else. And I'll always have them, so that's a good thing. It was worth the work, but I found college generally a struggle, but I think that was because of where I chose to go and the path that I took, because I left my secondary school and went a place where no one else went, and I struggled with that change because I was just on my own, and it was in a school where people had already been together, and it was all very complicated. But basically, the assumption is I passed my A-levels. Yeah, that's correct. You have smoked before? No, absolutely not. My body is messed up enough without me doing additional things to mess it up further, and I probably am going to get a lot of hate for this, but I absolutely hate it. Absolutely despise it. I think if you do it, especially as a young person, it's stupid, because you have a healthy body. Why are you destroying it by breathing in products? What's the point? That's what I get. What is the point? I don't understand it. I don't get why you'd want to do it. It's expensive. It destroys your body. It causes significant illness, and it really annoys me when people do things because other people do it. Like, it's not a trend to destroy your body. If you are blessed enough to have a body that works, don't destroy it yourself. End of discussion. No, I have not smoked before. This is Rebecca. You're the best almost sister-in-law ever. Thank you. You obviously think that. I wouldn't say so. I mean, I hardly see you because I live 400 miles away, but I love you all very much. This is the question. What keeps you going on difficult days? My family, my job, because I can look at kids I've looked after that have gone through far worse stuff than I have and think, well, they got through it and are far more resilient. Get your head together. If I'm in a hospital, usually the staff help me to pick myself up and get on. And I would say, just like in terms of like management, I like to read, I like to colour, do crafty things, scrapbooking and all of that. I like focusing on a task. So right at the beginning of this lockdown, when I was really poorly, I was having quite a lot of difficult days when I literally couldn't do anything. So I decided, right, I'm stuck here. I can't really do much. I had zero energy. So I chose to do a British Sign Language course. So that kind of thing. I'll try and focus on something that's bigger than me, because that's, at the end of the day, my illness is a huge part of my life, and that causes the difficult days. On the whole, I rarely have a difficult day that's not related to that, because it affects everything. And even if there's an issue that's not related to that, so if I'm just down about something else, then like having the condition makes it worse on top. But on the whole, I would say the people around me and just distraction. I like music. I think music, like, I speak through music quite a lot, so music gives me words when I don't have them. And yeah, that's what keeps me going. You get on with your doctors. Well, if you'd asked me this a year ago, I would have said absolutely, yeah, I do on the whole. But that's not up for debate. I'm going to be careful what I say here, because this is an ongoing issue. So it depends on the doctor. I get on with doctors who respect me as a human being, respect that I have a brain and I have intelligence of my own, and that although they are a doctor, I live with myself, so I know what is best usually. I respect people who listen and get on with people who do a bit of give and take, if that's how you want to look at it. I do not get on with doctors who are arrogant and who think that they know best because they've got a medical degree, because that's not how life works. Especially with a complex condition. It's the first time I've met them. If they're being really arrogant, I'll always ask them what they know about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, because the answer's usually not a lot. So if you don't know a lot about my condition, how can you be treating me? That's usually my go-to response. And it usually works. But I mean, recently, so I had a really, really, really good relationship with one particular doctor who has looked after me for my whole of my adult care. And we had a bit of an issue, something happened in my treatment that meant that decisions had to be made, and the decisions were not made in the correct manner. So they probably in hindsight were the right decision, but the manner was not correct. So I'm in the process of trying to sort this out, because I don't like, as I said before, I don't like to leave things unresolved, and I think it's important to sort that out in whatever way, shape or form that may take. I'm not quite sure about that at the moment, but yeah. So I would say I do get on with my doctors to an extent, and I have to get on with them because they are sadly always going to be involved. Like, I'm never going to not have doctors in my life. That's just never going to not happen. Can't not happen. But I don't agree with the things and the ways. I would say every single doctor I've ever met, I don't agree with something that they've done or do, but I think that's just being a human being also. So it's quite hard to, and I appreciate that professionally they have a role as well. So because I am a nurse, I can see that. And if I feel like my voice is heard, then I'm more amenable, and vice versa, usually. You're not afraid of needles. This is correct. I never have been, to be fair. Even when I was younger, it never bothered me. I used to be that person that used to go and get an injection and everyone else would be freaking out, be like, I don't really get it, I don't understand. I don't really understand why. This is something about phobias, you never get it unless you actually have it. I used to have a fear of dogs, which people would think is totally irrational, and I'm not even joking, like severe fear of dogs, where I would like run across a road or like 20 miles out and didn't care who was there, what was going to hit me, whatever, because I was so scared. But I think that a lot of time with needles, it's if you're having a needle, it's usually for something that's necessary. So whereas like other things, I can get why you'd be scared of them because it's not necessary, if that makes sense. For example, going up a height is not necessary, like it doesn't always have to happen. Whereas if you've got a medical problem that means you need something that requires a needle, like you're better off doing it. And I mean, I'm acknowledging that phobia is a phobia. Like I'm not diminishing anyone who has that, but I'm not afraid of them because I've had probably thousands in my lifetime. And that's on having no veins left. You have lots of friends. No, that's probably not true. I have lots of people that I know, lots of acquaintances. The last couple of years has taught me a lot about friendship. It's taught me a lot about grace and giving people grace for trying to be a friend in a situation they don't understand. And that took me a long time to do, shall we just say. But I would say a good number of close friends and probably a lot of acquaintances, people I know, people that I would see, and some people I would like to spend time with, but not people that I have major contact with. I would say there's probably, like maybe 7 people, something around that number, that I have regular contact with that I would class as a close friend. And I also think, friends are different circles of your life. So I have, for example, friends at Chia that I don't spend time with outside of that zone, but like I see them there, so they're like friends that I have there. So I have, if you think of it like that, I do have a lot of friends, but I don't have a lot of close friends, and I think illness has taught me that. Because if you'd have asked me like 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said I had a lot of friends, but Not true. And finally, you have never been drunk. Correct. I've never been drunk. Not really out of choice. So when I was like 17, 18, I started like, obviously, I've never really been one to be massively interested in drink. So even when I was younger, I didn't like the taste of it. I didn't really enjoy it. It's not something I was so bothered about doing. And I went to the old house party and I would have like one like Smirnoff Ice or some Caribbean Twist or something stupid like that that you drink when you're like 15. But I never ever had enough that would give me anything. And then when I was at my leavers ball from sixth form when I was 18, obviously I was legally allowed to drink, so I had like 7 drinks, I think it was, and ended up in hospital that night and then was in hospital for a week. So we discovered that my body and intestine does not like alcohol. They called it like an allergy. It's not really an allergy in the sense of like I say to people I'm allergic to alcohol because it causes me to be very unwell. But I can have like 1 or 2 drinks, but then I start to think, what's the point? Like it costs a lot more than just drinking a soft drink. So why am I going to spend it if it's not going to have any effect on me? Like in the sense of I'm quite tall and I think I wasn't really drunk even when I had like quite a lot to drink that night. My tolerance to it is probably quite high and it would take quite a lot to get me drunk, but it would just make me so unwell, it's pointless. So no, I've never been drunk and I probably never will be because I'm never going to get enough drink in me before I'm well. So, but I mean, I don't think I'm missing out on an awful lot in that sense. Never have to deal with a hangover. Who's the winner here? I hope you enjoyed this video. And like, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow my socials. They are in the description and here. And I hope you enjoyed this. Actually, this was really fun. Thank you to everyone who gave me assumptions for this video because I thought I wasn't going to get any. But yeah, I'll see you next time.